Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I've been having so much fun inviting members of the Content and Connection Club to join me for these chats. We've been broadcasting these conversations to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube using StreamYard. So one of the things people can ask me about is how do you do that? In fact, we're going to talk about that this Friday at the Content and Connection Club Mastermind session because a few of the members who've done these chats started saying, wait, I want to know more about this. So that's an example of what you might learn. Today, I have Avital Spivak with us. And Avital, she helps coaches untangle their tech so they can focus on their genius instead of just being all confused about all the technology pieces of their business. Welcome, Avital.
Hey, Robbie. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So I'm curious if you recall how you and I first connected, what attracted you in initially to attending the No More Bad Zoom virtual happy hours?
Yes, I do. I was kind of new to business, not new to what I do, but new to business, and learned about networking. And then I was like, where do I find those things, those networking meetings? And somebody sent me to you. And I
Wow.
came over to one meeting and really fell in love with it. There was a lot there for me.
How long ago was that? That in 2020, 2021?
Oh, that was it might have been early 2022 or late
Oh,
2021. Yeah,
cool.
hasn't been that long.
Yeah, man, I feel like I see you all the time. So that's great. What were you looking for when you said networking? So who were the kind of people you had wanted to connect with?
I didn't even know at the time.
Mm.
I have to say that one of the things that I learned from the club is a lot about that and who do I want to network with. And at the time, I had a business coach and they said, you need to network.
That was it. You were like, okay, let me find a place to network. So, I was hosting since March 13th, 2020, a No More Bad Zoom virtual happy hour. I'll drop the link here again. This is nomorebadzoom.com is how you would sign up for that. That is still free. It's no longer weekly. It was weekly for over 2.5 years. And then 7 or so months ago, I shifted to it being free on the first Friday of the month. And then I instead switched to hosting Content and Connection Club the other Fridays of the month. And at that point, you decided to opt in and join us on that journey. At that, like, what was the decision behind deciding to join the club? What were you looking for your business or for yourself personally?
So at that point, it was an easy decision. I was already coming in for a while. And even though this has been competing with a prior engagement and I drop in when I can, which is not all the time, there was something really interesting happening with getting to know the same people, coming back, getting to be known. And the level of input from you, the hot seats, the answer to questions, some mastermind effect, there was so much happening that actually having access to this community beyond the Friday meetings was immediately appealing to me.
Mm-hmm. So we should actually pause and mention to people that there are three different sort of aspects of membership. And membership, by the way, is just $25 a month. I'll tell you in a moment why it's so low when it could be 10 times that. But you get access to these Friday calls that happen 5 to 6:30 Eastern every Friday. The first Friday is open to anyone. We have a guest speaker come in. That's the No More Bad Zoom virtual happy hour. But for all the other ones, it's private to these members. And I call them mastermind sessions because the first few minutes I'm sharing something behind the scenes about my business. I've shared like the chart of accounts. I've shared my content management like plans, campaign strategy, all that stuff. Then we get into breakout rooms where we get to share personal and professional wins. We come back, we get to give people a chance to sometimes share with the rest of the room a few of those wins. And then people raise their hand using the reactions, raise hand button, and they queue up and ask questions. And so it's really a mastermind where we're all able to support each other. There's also online content available through podia.com, and this is content that I charge money for. So, for instance, my book launch strategies masterclass, which is $150. It's just one of the things you get access to. Videos galore about how to use Zoom, all that good stuff. And then there's an online community where you can post your wins, your accountability, how you want to be referred, like what kind of clients you're looking for. You can ask questions, get support. And that's kind of quiet. We're actually going to work, Avital, on how to liven that up next year. But I think the biggest piece is probably the live calls, because then you don't have to wade through all the content. You just ask a question, you get directed to the exact resource that you need. So what was sort of appealing about that was sort of you had access to all the content, but you knew you wanted to also, I mean, you do have a standing conflict and you're not able to make it every week, but you still thought there'd be value in this.
Yes. First of all, the ability to connect to everybody, including yourself, in between meetings and even when I cannot attend, and ask questions and get answers and get resources. Because one of the most amazing things for me is the consistent way in which I can get answers to questions that are timely. When I'm creating something, when I'm thinking of creating something, there's always somebody who has that expertise or maybe had similar experiences, and hearing it from a few points of view is the level of collaboration, shared knowledge, assisting each other. Like you already mentioned, accountability and different people referrals. One of the surprising things that happened as part of this was I was in a 3-day conference online, and I got to speak with the host and ask a question and get it answered. After that, one of the members of the club contacted me. She was, unbeknownst to me, she was in the same conference, and she videotaped me live. So I actually have a record of that conversation. That was sweet. Just, a gesture, an immediate, and a connection.
That's
Beautiful.
lovely. That's a relationship. People knowing you'd find that, interesting, valuable. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Is there any strategy, tactic, like learning that you got from either me or one of the members, in the breakout rooms, or maybe in these masterminds, or maybe one-on-one conversations you've had outside of the club? Anything kind of come to mind?
I want to say a couple of things. One is, like I said, when I started, I had no idea what networking really was. And learning from you and from experience, actually reading your book helped as well. But really, for me, the internal understanding of what deep networking meant, of coming back to the same place again and again and getting to know the people, not just introducing myself to strangers every time. And what happens when relationships get created, that level of networking surprised me. I didn't know that was possible from meeting strangers online consistently. They're not strangers anymore.
That's such a
That's
good,
one.
valuable takeaway, though, because I think a lot of people don't like the word networking and what it means to them. But the effort it takes to attend an event 3 times in a year is the same as it would take to attend 3 weeks in a row. But if you attend 3 weeks in a row, you won't be a newcomer the fourth time that you go. Like, people will remember you. If you miss the fourth time, they might mention you even though you're not there, right? It's like, it's that consistency and in a tight time frame, so that
Yeah.
if you just went sort of randomly every now and again, like, same effort, but the outcome would be you're always sort of reintroducing yourself, and that's a lot of work. So you were able to start building connections and relationships with people just by, and by the way, that was the $25 a month. It was a way to sort of identify people specifically ready to do this kind of intentional community building. Um, there were members coming to the free No More Bad Zoom virtual happy hour who were not that entrepreneurial. They loved community, right? They loved the idea of it. Maybe they knew me, but even a small dollar a month made them realize, like, they'll stick around for the once a month. And then there are other people who mindset wise got stuck on it. Like, I mean, even when it was a small dollar a month, because the first like chunk of people paid $10 a month. So even then they were like, that tells you that you've got work to do as a business owner. It's not about the price tag, right? That there's something
Yeah.
that's stopping you from stepping up and asking for help and providing, access to things. So the people who said yes they're really kind of cool people that you'd want to get to know. And we were sort of constantly sort of having a few new members trickle in and they get acclimated in, and it's been really neat. So probably it could be $250 a month for this many calls and this much access to me. But this community, and you missed this part because you joined me after it already happened. But I was talking to Sophie Lechner earlier yesterday. She was at the March 13th, 2020 first virtual happy hour that I ever did. And to have her still here, right, in the club is really meaningful to me, because that community of people who kept showing up every Friday all through 2020, they helped me realize I had a business. Like they helped me figure out the
Wow.
value of what I could offer organizations that were hosting virtual events. And I'd still be stuck. I was all in person all the time. And then suddenly I had skills that people were willing to pay for. And I really hosting this club as a give back to those community members. And half the proceeds go to Feeding America. So Feeding America is my biggest client. And the funny backstory is that on March 9th, it was my first time giving a gift to a food bank monthly. I knew that this was going to be a really difficult moment for a lot of people. I didn't know what was going to happen for me, but I felt like I'd be fine. So I gave a $10 a month gift. And within a month and a half, I met my contact at Feeding America, and they became my biggest client. I'm still working them years later. I love the work they do, supporting 200 food banks around the US. And so I am thrilled. I was just tallying it up. We're going to give gifting $2,500 to Feeding America at the end of this year. And we've only been at this for 6 months. So next year could easily be over $5,000 that we gift to Feeding America to help them do the work they're doing in our local communities.
From the club
From
proceeds?
club fees, half the fees to Feeding America. Unbelievable. So I'm really excited. This
That's
is not
amazing.
about me making a ton of money. This is about us all collectively getting what we need for our businesses and paying it forward to those in need.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hey, what are you up to for next year? What are you going to be working on in your business?
Just before I tell you about next year, I want to give a shout out to this mic.
That
And
was a thing that you learned from me.
this is really about something that happens in the club, because I came in with a question that I did not expect an answer to, or real. My question was, I live in a very noisy environment. There's a lot of ambulances, jets, whatever, different things. They make a lot of noise and it disturbs my client. It's a small apartment. I cannot enclose any areas. How do I deal with it? And I did not expect to have an answer. I've been at it for a while, and people say closets and rent a room. And, Robbie said, get this mic. And I said, what's that? And it's a unidirectional mic. It just hears my voice. All the sounds around it are not there. And that was Robbie's answer. I actually got professional equipment
Yeah.
that was an investment and saved me in many ways, saved my business. So this is the unexpected part of getting coached and getting the experience of the club. So I just wanted to add that in.
That's so cool. And this mic, so you and I have the same mic, and this mic, if I just turn it around, you can hear the sound quality is very, very different. That's how sensitive this mic is. So if my kids are banging on the door, or I used to live across from a hospital and there'd be ambulances going by all day. I mean, obviously the more on top of the mic I am, it's better. But if it's not about that, it's just about being heard and not having background noise. What you've got as a setup is beautiful. No longer
Yeah,
an
I
issue.
can come closer and the
Yeah,
sounds
that's
get much better.
if you were
But I
doing like,
don't have to have it like this in
you don't
the,
have to. It
no,
still picks
still
up
good.
just your voice. That's
Exactly.
really
So
cool. Congratulations on having that fixed.
it saved me because we started construction and there's jackhammers and none of my clients can hear it. And I can actually do this interview with you and you don't hear the jackhammers. I have to hear them.
That's amazing. That's a very sensitive mic. All right, so
Yeah. Okay.
what's going on for next year?
Sorry about that. So next year, I'm building my referral and collaboration network,
Oh,
actually intentionally and consciously. So from not knowing even what networking was, now I want a network. I want it to be intentional. both vertical and horizontal, which are all things I heard here. I mean, you didn't use these terms, that my terms, but people I refer people to, people that refer clients to me, and also people that I can send clients to if they're not exactly who I serve, or if I need
Right.
extra hands, whatever it is. My business is starting to move, and I can see the value of such network. It's really amazing to me, and that's one of my biggest goals for the coming year.
That's brilliant. Yeah, we talked about that. It was like last week or two
Yes.
about, getting clear about what you want to be known for. And then if people come to you with something else, like for me, I host virtual events, but I don't want to be known as hosting people's birthday parties, virtual birthday parties, right? So I
Yes.
had to find people in my network who were happy to take on that. And then I would just make introductions and let them take it on. And in the other ways, like when they got a really complicated event to hand it to them, and they were like, "This is above my pay grade," they'd refer me in, and I'm like, "Yep, that's something I know how to do. I can take care of that." And they're like, "Oh, good." So building that kind of referral
Yes.
circle is really, really helpful. How do you see the club helping you refine that as you go forward?
So what I'm finding is there's a few levels of it. It's pretty meta. Um, First, the connections themselves. Just, the people in the club, they're amazing, and the diversity is incredible. So these are people that I don't meet in other networking events or other places because they come from different walks of life, different professions, different places, and it creates, how do you say, exposure to different crowds and different ideas and different ways of thinking, which I love. And so those connections in terms of collaborations, I currently have collaboration with two different people in the club.
Ooh, give them a shout out. Let's hear about
Oh
this.
yeah, Sophie and I are piloting a workshop. Starts this Friday. So I heard you're live with her yesterday. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of fun. And then the other one is not quite there yet. So and
Okay.
I'm going to keep that
We'll
in.
come back. We'll come back to that.
We'll come back to that. And the other thing so I said that's one level, the connections themselves, the connections that get created from, that I get introduced to from people, etc. Now, the other thing is your experience as a person who does networking and hosting and teaches networking. The level of advice and coaching because of the meetings that are the in between, what you call the masterminds. I didn't realize you're calling the masterminds, but I wrote when I was thinking about this, I wrote the mastermind effect of these meetings because I
Mhm.
look at them as masterminds as well.
Mhm.
I come in and you give great coaching. So when I have those questions on the spot that week, whatever is happening, you're there. And that's incredible. And the other people as well give their experience and contributes to from their expertise. So altogether, there's a lot of depth, and that helps me as I build. Even just understanding what networking is, it keeps getting deeper and deeper for me,
Mhm.
specifically from this club.
It's really interesting you're talking about what to call something. I think this is worth exploring before we wrap up. Um,
Mm,
I think for a little bit I was thinking of these as Q&A calls, but a Q&A call indicates I'm the expert. You come with questions. I'm the one who answers. But I really know that the community has a lot of value built into the membership experience, what they know, what they can bring, the referrals, introductions they can make, the tools they know how to use that they can mention,
yes.
right? So by shifting it, it's not a training. I'm not coming with content to share. I don't have like an agenda planned. It's not Q&A because it's not just me. So the word mastermind really did seem to fit. And there's two models of masterminds that I've done. I've done masterminds with like max 4 people. Each person gets a 30-minute hot seat. But then there's the model where you have, maybe a dozen people in the room, but they get a chance to either write their questions down all at the same time at the beginning, or just to raise their hand and queue up. And so we're doing this a little informally. People basically get to raise their hand and ask questions. And how long we spend on that question sort of depends on how hard a question it is to answer. If it's real quick tech question, then I might just answer it or share a video link to something that they can dive into after the call. But if it's a strategy question, or like I did a deep dive or hot seat on my slides, I have to tell you, I get so many compliments about the way I'm presenting,
Hmm.
and the things that I'm talking about people are things that I got from club members that I'm now going to be writing about in my book. This idea of like building the slide bullet by bullet and pausing for a few seconds when you get to this next slide, so people have a chance to read that bullet point. Like, of course, that makes so much sense. I just didn't have a ton of experience presenting with slides, because in
Yes.
person I didn't present with slides either. So I'm, percentage wise, I don't think I've maybe 20% of the time that I presented, it's been with slides. And that's mostly been in the past year. So not the past 12 years, So this is, it's so valuable, is that I'm learning, right? I'm a student in this room as much as I'm also a person who has knowledge. And I'm
Yes.
able to create space where others are offering that as well. And we do have a lot of diversity. I mean, gender mix is sort of even, but age range, it's sort of 50s, 40s, I would say 40s. And then, of course, we've got Dorothy Wilhelm, who's like holding up the top end of that range at 88, just helping us skew. We got someone else actually in her 80s as well. But like they're still dynamically involved in building a business. And
Yes.
we get to get all their expertise, 40 years of business that they've been doing, or more. So it's cool. Like you're coming in with your experience and your questions. So yeah, I have started to more specifically identify them as masterminds. And I'd say sort of mastermind networking, because we do have the opportunity to do like the breakout rooms, the beginning, the get to know
Yes.
you, the wins.
Having a place to celebrate with people who have known me for a little while and can
Mm,
see changes is very different than celebrating randomly with different people.
good point.
Yeah.
I actually have said that if you're willing to share the struggles you have as you strive for excellence when you achieve a milestone, it's not bragging, right? You need to share your success, because the people who witnessed you struggling get to also be part of the community experience of someone actually making it.
Yes.
But if you never share the struggle and you just walk around talking about how easy things are for you, and I made this happen, I made that happen, no one's going to feel like warmly to you. They aren't going to be like, oh, that's great. They're going to be like, uh-huh, yeah, whatever.
Right.
So this is a space where we get to share a little of that. That's pretty
Yes.
cool. I love it. Well,
Very true.
thank you, Avital, so much for joining us on this call.
Thank you,
I have
Robbie.
loved doing these, and I'm going to keep doing these again into the next year. So if anyone's watching as a membership club or membership group of some kind, do some lives with your members. Give your members some visibility. Talk about what the value is, and of course, in this case, $25. Like, go to contentconnectionclub.com and join us,
Yeah.
and we'll see you in the new year. So, Avital, I hope you have some restful time over the holidays.
Thank you. You too, Robbie.
Thank you.